All right, so welcome to the Youth Code.
I just be talking to customers sometimes midnight because some people working shift saying they
Yeah.
get
And that is how I live daily. Everything.
All right, so welcome to the Youth Code and with yours truly, Anthony D. And as we know, the Youth Code is about conversations and interactions with the millennials, the Gen Zs, and just to get an idea from them about their perspective, their views, their ideas about various topics and experiences in life. As we speak with them, we learn so much from them through their own individual journey. So this evening, I have two gentlemen with me, and the episode this evening is entitled Owning My Time, the journey of the entrepreneur. So you're going to get an idea from these guys as what that looks like for them and what the experience has been like. So they will do some introduction for themselves, but let me bring them into the studio one time. We have Mr. Jamel Hunt with us this evening, and we also have Brandon. He's known as Trini Brand. Trini Brand. Yeah. So Brandon, here, let me allow you to introduce yourself firstly, and then Jamel will jump in. Yeah, so go ahead.
So, well, my name is Brandon. I'm better known as Trini Brand. I'm a content creator, and I'm a business owner as well. I have an online business named Value Supreme Varieties Limited.
All right, nice man. Good stuff. All right, let me hear Mr. Jamel, sir.
That is a nice introduction, Brand. Always follow this stuff. Good evening to everyone. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
My name is Jamel Hunt. Just want to keep it really simple. I'm a business owner. I like to put it like that very simply. I'm a business owner. I manage and run a 24/7 gym in Aruka, spa, fruit stall and smoothie stand, and also a naturopathic clinic, among other businesses as well too. So simply put, I'm a business owner.
All right, nice man. But what you call it? A natural?
Naturopathic clinic.
Naturopathic.
So it's actually naturopathic, but naturopathic to make it simple. Yeah.
Well, here, you tell me what is that, Nick? Are you trying to figure out what is that right now? What is that?
It's actually natural medicine. It deals with natural medicine, natural and herbal medicine. Alternative forms of medicine.
All right, cool. Well, today we're talking about the ultimate goal. In many instances, we cannot looking to see, are we looking at freedom? Are we talking about flexibility? The freedom to own how you want, control your time, right? And so in speaking with you guys, this is more or less the direction we're going. But before we get to that, I have a random question to ask you guys. Any of you all have a favorite sport?
Yes.
Yeah? Cricket is yours, Jamel.
Look all my trophies here. Cricket.
All right, what about you, Brandon?
I really like cricket, but football.
All right.
Yeah.
So why the side with the CPL? Yeah, Caribbean. Yeah.
Well, it's always TK. It's always TKR, you know.
You keep it local, supporting local.
Yeah, you had to support local.
I like that. And what's your favorite side, Brandon?
Well, why I used to back Real Madrid, but I was following Ronaldo in a way. So man, just call my bandwagon.
But if that your player, you're moving where your player move.
Yeah, I gotta go. So I like these
Yeah, they like me with basketball. I know it have a lot of controversy around him, but that's fine. That is Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is my favorite.
KD boy.
Yeah, KD, that's my boy.
Yeah.
Easy money sniper.
Right.
Yeah, But guys, so here's what. We're talking about all our time. We're talking about the journey of the entrepreneur. When did you, and let me start with Brandon with this question. Brandon, when did you decide to become self-employed? When did you see that as being the direction that you want to take with respect to your life?
Well, I worked in the manufacturing sector, so in administration, mainly purchasing. Mm-hmm. So I always was speak to business owners and stuff like that, and entrepreneurs. That was our customers in the company.
Right.
So I always looked at it, and I just decided to try it. It was just to try it, and I started off as doing it as a sideline while working. And it so happened that when COVID came, I was no longer employed. COVID had. So I was kind of thrown under the bus, and that's when I dived into it full time. So that's how it started.
Okay. And what about you, Jamel?
I would start off that question by, I believe it was Jay-Z. You know,
Mm.
when they asked him, I think it was Jay-Z or Kanye West, and they asked him, are you the business or are you a businessman? He said, no, I'm the business man.
Mm.
So I have
Right.
always been the business. I've always been the business. Ever since I've known myself, as a matter
Yeah.
of fact. And going through school, I got to actually did sciences in school. I went to CIC.
Mhm.
I did sciences like the that would have been the norm then, and
Okay.
a big part of me
Mm-hmm.
was always into business, and I
Okay.
think business chose me. That's what I
Okay.
would say. Business chose me in that a lot of things that I was doing that I was doing, it centered business, every single thing,
Okay.
and I was reading a book from Steve Harvey. You had to be
Mhm.
sick and tired. Only when you're sick and tired of being sick and tired is when you're gonna change. And I
Right.
think when I read that book, probably I was like 15 or 14 years old,
Right.
and I wasn't even working yet. But when I started to work, I started to get really fed up of this 9 to 5 and 8 to 4 mentality, and
Okay.
somebody giving you a salary to give up on your dreams. So
Right.
since then, I think that is when it started for me, really.
All right. What did persons around you think about that when you decided to make that type of shift? What did persons around you started to think?
Um, at first, actually, my mom used to always tell me that anything that you're doing, you be the boss, own it. You
Okay.
want to be a garbage man, own the
Mm-hmm.
garbage company.
Okay. All right.
So I did get a lot of support from my parents. I did get a
Mm-hmm.
lot of support. Whether it be verbally, that kind of thing. They would have always supported me in anything that I wanted to do. So
Yeah.
I didn't really get too much of a lashback.
Oh, all right. What about
Yeah.
you, Brandon? I know you said that you would have been employed, and then through your interaction with business owners, I guess you decided to make that switch. What was that? What did that look like for you from family, friends, and stuff when you decided to make that switch?
No, well, my family firmly believe in having a good job and have a
Right.
stable income and stability. So my
Yeah.
family never ventured into entrepreneurship so much.
Oh,
So
okay.
that didn't come from my home, but just from what
Right.
I saw from others and my circle.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a bit worrisome for a lot of family, especially with my mom and thing to know that hey, he was in a job, he was getting a good income, he had a good
Yeah.
position, and now, you're on your own.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to build a business. It's not like I running a business that's established already.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was worrying, but like any mother, any family, like they had my back. She
Right.
just say go with God, and
Mm-hmm.
anything you're doing, do it honest.
Right. Okay.
And
Okay.
yeah, that's where it started.
But in terms of your, let's say for example, you might have had coworkers. You had any coworker that when you say, hey, well, this is my last year, or well, I mean, I know you said that during the COVID time you would
Yeah,
have been released at that point in time.
yeah,
So
yeah.
did you have anybody, let's say maybe from within that initial circle that when you said, well, hey, now I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna take this pathway. Did anybody like ask and say, well, but you sure, but you
Yeah,
sure you're gonna do this thing?
yeah. No, actually, nobody would have tell me, "Hey, go ahead, do that.
Right.
That's a good decision." Nobody.
Right. Yeah.
Everybody had basically the same response. Hey, you sure, boy? You sure?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
Why you think that? Why you think that happens? I mean, from your experience, why you think that is the case?
I think it's basically like what people would see, how the environment they grew up in,
Yeah.
that mentality of even in school, I in high school and stuff, we didn't learn about entrepreneurship and starting your
Yeah.
business, and we didn't
Mm-hmm.
learn that. And
Yeah.
it's the same with others, And I
Yeah.
was just so fortunate to, social media had a bit of aspect to play as well. You see
Okay.
different things, you learn different things. And I was fortunate to say to be open to all this information and
Yeah.
be able to start.
Right. Okay. 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 Jamal, you said something when you were sharing before. That you got more or less got fed up at the 9 to 5 and the 8 to 4 kind of mindset. What do you see that mindset as, and what about the mindset made you decide that what I don't want to be locked into that frame of thinking?
You see, I mean, and to answer this question, and just want to touch on what Brandon would have said as well too. A lot of it comes from fear, and you see, that fear is not necessarily that we can't do it. That fear
Mm-hmm.
comes from the newness. I mean, anything new that you're doing, you
Yeah.
get a little bit of fear. One of my big things is public speaking. And 70 or 75% of the world, not just locally or regionally, but 75% of the world has what is known as glossophobia, a fear of public speaking. But it's not necessarily that you can't speak publicly, it's just that it's new to you. So when you do it a number of times, you get over that fear and that kind of thing. But just to touch back on the question now, for me, it was a little bit easier for me to get into it, mainly because, as I mentioned, the support. Also, that 9 to 5 mindset. It was, to me, it was more of a lockdown. A lot of people, they have a fear of the unknown. They have a fear of going out there and actually being their best selves, and they don't really give themselves the opportunity to grow. They don't give themselves the opportunity to do something out of their comfort zone. A lot of people live in that comfort zone of the 9 to 5. They live in that comfort zone of, again a paycheck at the end of the month. I could pay this bill, or I could do this. I don't like to live like that at all, bro. I believe that, this one life that we have to live, we have to go out there and really and truly live it to the best of our ability. I don't want to say, really living vicariously. However, but truly living, and not just surviving, or not just being here.
Yeah, I think that's the statement. Not just simply surviving, because most persons look for that security because they want to be able to survive.
Yes,
but to really live, and because life is about experiences, So if you really want the experiences, sometimes you have to step out of the normal things if you want.
Definitely. Definitely.
Guys, here's what. I give you 30 seconds. 30 seconds to think about it. When would you have been able to identify and say, you know what, I could do this? When did you have that moment when you say, boy, this pathway, this journey, I could do this? I know who wants to start with this question, but
well, I could start mainly because the answer for me is, really and truly, I didn't know I could do it. Right, really and truly, I did not know I could do it. I mean, I'm currently the owner of a group of companies. My group of companies is Hunt's Group of Companies Limited, and we have a lot of different companies under there as well too. I didn't know I could open a gym. I didn't know I could open a spa. I didn't know I could do naturopathic medicine. However, the only way you could know if you could swim is if you go in the water, right?
True.
And as my adopted dad, as he always says, he say, sometimes what we had to do is jump off the cliff. You don't have to know what at the bottom of the cliff, but jump off the cliff and grow your wings on the way down. Learn to fly on the way down. And that is how I live daily. Everything that I do, it doesn't matter if I am confident that I can do it. I just know that I'm a very I learn on the go. I learn on the spot. Right, I'm a learner of life. So everything that I get involved in, I learn it quick, adapt, and I move on. I tell people, throw me in the jungle, I will come out as the king of the jungle.
What about you, Brandon?
I would say it took a couple months, honestly, because there was based on how I had to go into my business full time without a choice. It was difficult because obviously I have a certain lifestyle, because again, a stable salary at the end of the month. So, you're feeling that safety now. So to jump out now and do a business that again now established. So you had to build it from scratch, and now you have your monthly bills. Your bills not changing. It's just the income change, right?
Yeah.
So I think it took like probably the first year for me to really be like, hey, yeah, boy, I could do this. Because there was a lot of doubt. Should I go back into employment? Should I look for employment? Should I, try to get a job? But it took that year for me to experiment with, I retail products, different products, looked at the profit I was making, how to make more profit and maximize those things. And I would say it took the first year to really do it and settle down. And as Jamal was saying, adapt. And I would say the first year.
Okay. Brandon, would you say that being an entrepreneur gives you, and I know there may be a correlation between the both, they may be actually combined, but you let me know. Do you think that being an entrepreneur gives you, to some extent, financial freedom or flexibility? or is there a combination of the both of them that you get?
I think it's a combination of the both, but being an entrepreneur, you had to be able to know that, hey, sometimes business will be good and sometimes it won't be good. You know,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
you have to be able to understand that. And knowing that you do have the flexibility and freedom in terms of, choosing what to do with your time, but just know that it comes at a cost. Because as a business owner,
Okay.
you're always working. You're always
Right.
working, no matter what. So like
Yeah.
me, I just be talking to customers sometimes midnight because some people working shift,
Yeah.
taking orders, So it comes at a cost, but it depends on the effort you put in your business,
Okay.
how important it is to you, the drive, the ambition to not just settle and always look for more, different ways of marketing, all these things.
Yeah.
And so you could get that financial freedom. Of course, I have been enjoying it so far, but as I
Yeah.
said, it's good times and bad times. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What about you, Jamal?
I agree with Brandon 100% on this. One of the things I tell people at the start of when I just entered into business, especially with the gym in particular,
Yeah.
for the first, that was 2017, we opened the gym. For the first, I would say 2 to 3 years, I mean, we didn't have a client. We were our only client in the gym. And those days were stressful.
Oh.
Those days were stressful. I talking about to the point where you don't even know how to pay rent. You don't even know how you're gonna pay rent. And every month the landlord come in and hey, we're gonna earn more rent, boy. And we had to tell him, boy, well, business not. But it's a bit of both because the ultimate goal is financial freedom. However,
Right.
to get to there, you have your struggles, you have your down
Yeah.
periods. But one of the things that I learn in the down periods as well too is that every down period that you're in, you learn something so
Okay.
that when that time comes around again, you're not gonna be the same person that you are now.
Right.
So a lot of times, I always say, I've been to rock bottom financially a lot of different times, and to the point where I was sharing a story with somebody today, to the point where I had certain how to put it, furniture institutions that wanted
Yeah.
to send bailiff and all kind of thing for me,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But at those points, I learned. So now I know how to manage my finances better. I know how to manage my
Okay.
time better. I know how to
Yeah.
put certain things in place to ensure that this doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of both. It's a bit of
Yeah.
both.
Okay. What about you, Brandon?
Yeah, I agree with Jamal definitely. I don't have that hustler mentality because I'm looking at it more long term. So it's not
Right.
like I'm looking at my business. Well, it's more than one thing I'm involved in, but it's not like I'm
Yeah.
looking at it as short term. This is long term. This is the life I live in now,
Yeah.
and I try not better it for the future.
Right.
Maybe if I not here anymore, the next generation will carry it on.
Right.
So
Okay.
that's
Okay.
just the mentality I have.
Yeah.
Right. There's a sense of continuity that you're working with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Brandon, what would you say in terms of that feeling of being able to own things on your own terms, like that ability, your time, your ability to decide, okay, this is what it's going to cost. How does that feel for you as
Well,
a entrepreneur?
yeah. Well, you see, I like the flexibility, especially because it gives me freedom to do other things as well now. But it depends on how busy one of the things is.
Okay.
Something that I struggle with sometimes is when uh, both of the things I'm doing is busy. It is be difficult sometimes.
Okay.
But definitely I like where I'm at right now, and there's a lot of things that I'm working on and stuff to better it.
Yeah.
But in terms of the question, yeah, I like where I'm at right now, and in terms of
Okay.
especially the way that the harder I work, the more money I get. I like that,
Right.
as opposed to
Yeah.
you're working a
Yeah.
9 to 5. No matter, I know so many demotivated people, bro.
Yeah.
No matter what they do. I mean, unless they work on a commission basis or something, but like
Yeah.
Yeah.
they just work 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. You get a salary at the end of the month, and it's like
Yeah.
they have no encouragement, no motivation.
Yeah.
But when
Yeah.
with your own business, you could push. You had a motivation. You could work Sunday to Sunday because
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
seeing it. you're seeing that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife made that switch, and I remember when she shared one of the motivators behind it, because she felt that she wanted to be available as much as possible in the lives of our children. Being able to, she loved that idea of dropping them to school, and that moment where she's able to converse with them on the way to school. I have one of my daughters, she's heavily into sports, so she's able to take her to her training, go to her games, and that kind of. And I mean, I likewise as well. I would take the necessary time to do it. But I remember when she shared that, I realized that there's really a beauty in being able to have that authority on your time and your
Yes.
life.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
something that you really don't, you can't put a value to that. There is
Yeah.
no monetary value you could place to being able to experience that. And when
Correct.
she made that switch, you could have seen, that joy of being able to do that. All right, second one. What is your go-to motivational song or quote? Your go-to motivational song or quote?
I would say the quote for me, it comes from scripture.
Mm-hmm.
It's Psalm 46:10, and it's
Mm-hmm.
be still and know that I am God. Because
Okay.
in that scripture, in the hustle and bustle of life, and in the noise, it
Right.
often brings me back to this place of, really understanding that when you're still, when you're
Yeah.
at that oneness,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to call it that, you could get to see everything for what it is,
Yeah.
and everybody for who they are.
Yeah.
That's for me.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, well, for me, my mom is very church oriented.
Yeah.
So she always sending me a verse, always reading the Bible to me. And well, one thing
Mm-hmm.
that's she's always summer, anytime I'm in difficulties, you can do all things through Christ who gives me strength, right?
Okay.
And that is one
Love
thing
that.
that is, any difficulties in that way. God on my back, I
Yeah.
can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that is scripture from her, definitely one of those little bedrocks you could run to
Yeah.
I'll
anytime.
probably go and hear it again soon. Yes, always remind me, always remind me.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Nice, man. Nice. All right, guys. Last one. Um, what would you say, right, is the best thing about being your own boss?
Real thing.
I think, yeah, I think you touched on it with the first rapid fire question, because that
Mm,
freedom to me
the
is
freedom.
everything.
Okay.
I am able to go to sleep when I want, to wake
Right.
up when I want. I don't have to face that traffic to go in town every day.
Yeah.
If I feel to go on a trip in the morning, I go. If I
Yeah.
whatever I feel to do, because that freedom is not necessarily financially alone. It's a
Yeah.
mental freedom.
Amen.
It's a
Right.
thing where, if whatever I feel to do, I will do. And that's why I say freedom to me is happiness.
Yeah. Okay.
Because just as all of us, we seek after that happiness. Some might see it
Yeah.
in different ways, but
Mm-hmm.
that ultimate goal is really that happiness. Our goal is to be happy.
Yeah. 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 I agree, Brandon.
Yeah, that freedom is important.
Freedom.
That's a big thing for me as well.
Mhm.
In the aspect of time and financial freedom as well, but also, like, for example, you want to try a new product, a new type of marketing, anything, you don't want to get approval, submit.
Yeah.
You
Right.
can just
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah. You could decide.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's just that freedom, and yeah, the goal, as Jamal said, is to be happy and have a good quality of life.
Yeah, yeah. Guys, I really want to say thanks for taking the time to be on this evening. It is something for a lot of persons I know who desire what you all have, but I feel what some people miss is understanding what it takes to be where you all are at. And that is why I'm hoping that through this little conversation that we had, at least they could get a little insight, because I know there's so much more. This we could take
Yeah,
this more.
definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot I think that they can work with, in terms of the information that they need. But I really want to say thanks to you all so much for taking the time to be a part of this evening and sharing your experience and your knowledge.